In 224 AD, Ardashir established the new Sassanian dynasty, named after his grandfather, Sassan.
It was a time that was, of course, to lead under the Parthians and Sassanians to a point where the Zoroastrian religion became the religion of Iran. The king was, in a sense, the representative of Ahura Mazda, the voice of the god, the person who kept the balance between the forces of good and evil. Kingship and the religion were one entity.
Sassanian kings were known as city builders. Ardashir's special and unparalleled heritage is the radiant layout of his town. Ardashir Hooray, or the glory of Ardashir, which spreads beyond the city wall and all over the plain like the 20 spokes of a gigantic wheel. It was 2 kilometers in diameter, with its 40 meters high tower in the center as a symbol of God-given centralistic kingship. The location of the Sassanian Empire between the Far East and Europe had made it not only the link between East and West, but according to J. Darmesteter, as the spiritual bridge for humanity and a crossroad of civilizations. Through this crossroad, Iranian works of art reached the far corners of the known world. For over a millennium, Iranian merchants dominated trade between China and Europe through the Silk Road, centuries before Marco Polo set foot on Chinese soil. A precious commodity was the Sassanian glassware.
This is an interesting craft because, of course, these are very breakable, and so they're very, very valuable, so that when you find a piece of beautiful glassware, let's say in Jerusalem or anywhere else in Palestine or even Egypt, and it's identifiable as Sassanian, you have to think this came a long way at great expense and was highly prized. This was something that they mastered the technique of making these things, and it was transported throughout the world.
They influenced to the many cultural heritage, and the Japanese emperor Shomu loved Iranian specimen, carpet, glassware, music instrument, etc.
This marvelous Sassanian glass tray, now at the Bibliothèque Nationale de France, depicts the Sassanian king, Anushirvan. Anushirvan is celebrated for his great Ivan, known as the Taki Kasra in Ctesiphon. This great Ivan was originally about 50 meters in length, 26 meters in width, and 37 meters in height to the top of the vault. Wider than any vault in Europe, the French traveler Pascal Coste remarked that the Romans had nothing similar to it. The Sassanian period was a high point for luxurious life in antiquity. From feasting to hunting, playing musical instruments to playing chess and polo. Sassanian kings had a special interest in depicting their glorious moments in silver dishes as well as rock reliefs.
The image of two animals facing one another is a special feature of Sassanian art. Although this textile you see here was discovered in Egypt, it actually belongs to Sassanian Iran. Here you can see the mythical animals facing each other as well as peacocks. A lot of similar textiles were taken to Europe, and they undoubtedly had an effect on Byzantine textiles.
The influence of Sassanian motifs can be seen on the external wall of the 12th century AD church of Saint-Étienne in Beauvais, France, and on the textiles from Italy, Spain, and even remote places in the Far East, such as Japan.